And so you kind of have to step back and like, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that's frustrating. But remember, you're not the bio parent of that child. But I understand the vent. I understand like the need to vent about that because you feel like I'm totally being disrespected. And that started a whole conversation of what are you expecting? Like maybe you have to relook at the expectations of the other parents in the family. I'm Summer.
And I'm Mike.
And we got married with children.
It's been 12 years since we got this gang together.
And we're still running the rapids of living with a blended family.
And sometimes that is just not easy.
If you're looking for support and tools when it comes to divorce, step-parenting, co-parenting, and giving it your best,
you're in the right place.
We're talking about everything.
You ready to get this party started?
Always. Hello and welcome to another Everything Always podcast show.
Hello, hello, hello. Here we are.
It's the two of us.
Today, we're recording live from Park City, Utah, surrounded by snow.
It's gorgeous.
And it is gorgeous. Man, it is really nice up here. It's been fun. Summer and I decided to do a little weekend getaway. She did a little bit of work during the week. Her company is located up here in Salt Lake City. And I came with her and pretended to work while she was working. And then we were hanging out and having fun. I think at least I'm having fun.
We're having so much fun, actually. And we had a storm. Like the first night we were here, second night.
Summer actually drove in the snow, which she was freaked out. She's like, I can't be on the phone. It's snowing outside. I need to focus on driving. I'm like, it's going to be okay. The car has all-wheel drive. Let it bring you home.
Well, you usually do all of our winter driving. I do not usually drive in the snow.
Let's just say Summer is a Southern California girl.
I totally am. And every time I've gone to the snow, it's been somebody else driving. I've driven when there's snow outside, but not when it's actually like coming down pretty hard. It was coming down hardcore and it was night and I was like, I was nervous, but I did it because I can do hard things.
That's right. That's right. And for people that know Park City, we were lucky enough to get this super awesome little Airbnb, which is right off of Main Street.
Yeah.
I mean, you can open the front door and stumble onto Main Street. It is so cool.
And so Mike got this, Mike got a drone. It was an impulse buy at Costco. And we're there to get.
I know, it sounds dorky.
We're there to get a number of other things.
Is.
And all of a sudden he's like, wait, I got to go check out this drone. And you got pretty excited about it. And he has been, I feel like
it wasn't the craziest thing ever. It was like $400. It's this drone called the Mavic Mini, but it takes high resolution video, high resolution photos, has like photo capture mode. Now I really do sound like a dork, right? And the whole time I'm like, you know what? This is going to be great. Our girls like to record these videos. They'll be able to do stuff that's a little bit like different and cool. You know, maybe we'll use this for like shooting some stuff. Really just, I wanted a toy. Let's be honest.
Well, you can actually use it in your business because you do a lot of, you know, remodels and outdoor
landscaping. So you can do like cool aerial before and after photos and things like that.
Anyways, the point is he brought it here and he's been geeking out. He's like, so if people are walking down Main Street, like what's that thing above there?
I think in the show notes, you should show the video where I'm flying the drone down Main Street.
You know what?
To the point where I'm like, I can't see it anymore.
You know what? Here's what we'll do instead. We'll put it in our social media so that you can see it. So I have to remember to do that when this podcast comes out.
And actually,
I
think after we finish this, we should go out and like do some more. It'll be fun.
We should totally do it.
Play in the snow with a drone. Okay, we're pretty off. We're
ranting. But guess what? That's what today's episode is. It's not a mapped out. You know, a lot of times we go through tips, we talk about certain issues. We're going to talk about a number of issues.
Let me tell everybody how this started. So we're sitting in the hot tub. It's super snowing outside. And we're just talking. And we're literally just ranting back and forth. We're like talking about election stuff and family stuff and work stuff and this person that's being annoying and like this situation and like.
It was a good vent session.
We were just wrapping out. I'm like, you know what? Summer said, why don't we just do a podcast where we just rant about stuff? And I'm like, That'll be the easiest podcast ever because basically it'll just be like our normal day. We don't rant.
Everybody rants, right? There's a lot of ranting going on right now, but we kind of thought of the big things and we're like, let's just talk about it. And maybe there's something useful that you can take from it.
Who knows? Or maybe it'll just be fun. And you could just send us your rants. You could just rant to us.
Which, by the way, remember, we have those open letter. We're collecting those now. We don't have.
Why don't you tell people what it is?
Let me talk about the open letter. So we have on our site at everythingalways.co, we have a place where you can write an anonymous rant, if you will, or open letter really is what it is. A letter to someone that you would never send to them. And you want it to be totally anonymous, but you need to get it off your chest. And it's pretty awesome how good it feels when you can write that out. Maybe it's a parent, your parent. Maybe it's a grandparent. Maybe it's your mother-in-law. Maybe it's your, brother or sister. And it has something to do.
It's a safe place where you can write exactly how you feel and share it anonymously.
Yeah. Maybe it's appreciation. Maybe it's some type of acknowledgement that you want to send to somebody to say, we never talk, but I want to acknowledge your efforts as a stepdad or whatever, something that is meaningful to you that it would be awkward or it might not be appropriate to send that letter to that person, but you want to get it off your chest. We want to be that voice for you. So you can go to the site, click on forum, and there's a place where you just fill in what you want to say. It comes into our inbox. However, it just comes from the site. We have no idea who it's coming from, which is what's so awesome about it. So send those in. There's some interesting stuff coming in, and we are going to put them together, and we're going to start to read those on our episodes.
Yeah, it's going to be riveting.
Riveting, he says. So should we start our rants right now?
Yeah, what do you want to rant about?
Okay, I have something that I want to rant about.
Bring it.
Okay. Here's something I want to rant about. This is what I started talking about last night. I was like, okay, there's crazy stuff going on in our world, right? Whatever party side you're on, whether you're in the middle, you're the left, you're the right, you're scared about COVID, you're not scared about COVID, you're homeschooling, you're not homeschooling, you're whatever it is, there's like people are so fired up right now on social media. And so what I did for myself was I was starting to see stuff and I was seeing people just like mean. They're just mean. And it's like, whatever your opinion is, why do people have to be so mean? But beyond that, I thought to myself, well, it's getting me all fired up. There's stuff that I don't even want to see. So you have the ability to mute someone. You have the ability to make it so you see less of their content. And the reason I did that was because you get to a point where you're like, I want to protect what I'm filling my brain with. And
you have the ability to unfriend these people too.
You can also unfriend, but if it's somebody who maybe you are friends with them and you don't want to totally unfriend them, but you're just like, this is
slightly unfriend.
You can quiet what you see. My point was why some of these people aren't doing that. They get so mad and they're engaging with.
Oh, it's the other way.
That I'm like,
yeah, if you don't like it, stop looking at it.
Why do you keep looking at it?
Keep engaging.
If you don't like
trash,
if you don't like our podcast, don't listen to it.
Yeah, that's for real.
Don't share it. If you don't, and if you do, then share it. If you like, but unless you're going to really engage in a conversation that's actually going to bring value to others, or because you're wanting to learn from it, I see that happen, and it's like, okay, there's conversation happening here.
Can I chime in on this too? One thing that's annoying to me that I see a lot is that people like to talk trash about other people or other things behind their back without them knowing, right?
Even on social media.
That's right. They're like talking trash about a person or something else or whatever it might be, but they're doing it from the safety of like behind their computer where no one will know. You know what? If you got something bad to say about somebody, say it to their face. Let them know. Or choose to take the high road and just say, I'm not going to participate in this, and I'm not going to be negative or derogatory about a person, a thing, or whatever.
Well, what's interesting to me is that this is the kind of stuff that you teach your kids, right?
Yeah.
Don't engage in this, or don't be the person that's gossiping and speaking behind somebody else's back. And then you see those same adults
Doing it.
It's
busted.
Like, yeah. Well, the reason I do get frustrated with people just being downright mean and condescending, and it's like it's not productive at all.
A lot of it's just because they aren't like agreeing with your views, or they don't like the same things you like, or maybe they have different tastes in things. Guess what? Just because you think your way is the best does not mean that it is.
Yeah.
You are more.
You know what's funny though?
What?
It's those same people. Like I've seen this so much. They're saying mean things about, especially right now, right? All the politics. They're saying mean things about the party that they're not in favor of. They're saying all these mean things. And then all of a sudden, a week later, it's like, can't we all just be nice to each other? Can we all just be civil? Can we all just saying those things? And it's like, wait, but you were the same person last week.
That wasn't.
And then a week later, rude again. And it's like, so I this is our rant. And like, because I was getting upset with it, but then I realized I can totally control what I see and what pops up for me. And if I don't want to see it, I'll scroll right past it.
All right.
So
I think this is good.
I
have a fast one.
Yeah, do it.
I really dislike it when people start with the phrase, with all due respect. And then, basically with that mentality, feel that they are now justified to dump all of their crap on you. But because I started it with all due respect.
That's your disclaimer?
Now I'm allowed.
Yeah.
Actually, you're not allowed.
Yeah, people do that kind of stuff a lot, right?
And I don't mean just using the words. It's basically like, you can treat someone like trash, but as long as you actually just come and say, hey, but with all due respect.
Well, you know what though? Maybe in their mind, I mean, how are you defining the due of the respect? What kind of respect is owed to them? So if it's saying with all due respect, if in my mind I'm like, I actually don't respect you at all. So with all due respect,
which is none.
I mean,
Oh wow, that's another way to twist it. Summer's flipping it upside down and turning it around.
There you go.
I like it.
Well, I like that actually. I think you're right. That makes me think of something else that we were talking about, which, oh gosh, I can go in all different directions. So I have a lot of friends that are stepmoms, and some of them, I think they know we do a podcast, but I don't even think they listen to it. They're like, I know you do this podcast, so I wanted to ask you your opinion. We get that a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the time, what I hear all the time is stepmoms frustrated that they feel disrespected by the bio mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in some of these situations, there's more than one bio mom. They're with somebody who's had children from two different bio moms. They're frustrated because they feel totally disrespected when it comes to the rules at their house. And we have these rules and we have all this structure and stuff. And then when they go to their bio mom's house, they follow none of that. And then when they come back, it's like this whole long transition for them to get back into the groove of our house. And then the bio mom's getting upset with me. And I understand the frustrations of the stepmom. And again, when I say all this kind of stuff, this is just my opinion. I totally get it. I totally understand. At the same time, you are not their biological parent. And so you kind of have to step back and like, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that's frustrating. But remember, you're not the bio parent of that child. But I understand the vent. I understand like the need to vent about that because you feel like I'm totally being disrespected. And that started a whole conversation of what are you expecting? Like maybe you have to relook at the expectations of the other parents in the family. Like whether that is the person you co-parent with, like, or the step parent. So if you don't have your expectations so high, like they should do should acknowledge all that I do. They should be respectful to me at all times. They should respond to me immediately. All of those things. Like if you don't have those expectations, you're less likely to get fired up about it. Hey guys, guess what? We have a new website where you can see all of our podcasts and get easy access to the show notes, everything we talk about on the episodes, and you can even listen to the podcast directly from the site. You can contact us through the site and share your thoughts and questions. Check it out at www.everythingalways.co. That's www.everythingalways.co.
And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at everythingalwaysco. We just set it up and we'll be sure to put important announcements there.
And we love that this podcast has been so helpful to so many, and our hope is to share it with even more. So can you help us? Will you take a moment now or after the episode to subscribe to the podcast, write a review, and share it? It would mean the world to us, and it helps us to keep bringing you the best content.
Come on, we appreciate you guys. So what do you say, baby? Back to the episode?
Back to the episode.
That whole mentality of like, this is going to lead right into one of my other rants.
Do it.
The whole mentality that seems that our country is like starting to embrace, but it's that whole mentality of I deserve, I should have, that whole, it's like people are so entitled right now. They just feel like they should, and they should have like all of these things, and this is the way it should be, and this is the way I should be treated, and I deserve this. And all right, but enough about this.
Well, it makes me, so in our conversation last night, which was, maybe this was when we were having dinner, I think, we were talking about that in terms of the like deserve and all of that. And we had this conversation about like kids, and every kid does deserve and is entitled to supportive parents and loving parents, safe and security home, and safe home, yes. And all of those things, right? Like as a human, you deserve those things. But then we're like, okay.
But they also deserve to be challenged.
Absolutely. And so we were talking about, there are first of all, with all the technology and all the way that kids get this instant attention with social media, there's so many things that are easier, definitely some things that are hard too, but you really do worry about the entitlement when it comes to your kids, and especially as they become teens, and especially as you watch them become adults. And you really do have to be careful about what it is that they're just like, well, I should just get a car, and I should just get the best job, and I should, and you really want to teach them how to earn those things so that they can have that feeling of fulfillment. Like, I actually accomplished this on my own, not just because somebody just gave it to me.
It literally is stealing like such a cool thing. Like when you earn something, you appreciate it so much more.
So much. It's so true.
Things that come easy, that are given to you, that you didn't have to struggle for or like earn, you don't appreciate.
Right.
And you're literally stealing the joy of this thing, right?
Yes, exactly. So, just before talking about that, we were talking about the expectations that how somebody is supposed to treat you. You should actually, we all really dictate how we get to be treated. You allow or you don't allow how you're going to be treated. And what happens a lot in co-parenting situations, step parents, bio parent relationships, because there's like so much ego involved, it's like each person is like, well, I should be respected. I should be acknowledged for all of my hard work. My time should be respected. All of those things, right? Like you have these expectations, but because there's so much ego involved, people will also be quite rude to the other parent and then expect that person should still be respectful to them.
That's right.
So that's something that was...
And that ain't cool.
Well, that's what's really frustrating. And that's what I was like, you know what? If you're going to disagree, and I talked about this on the Who's the Better Parent episode, but you're going to disagree on things. That's just, again, you're not married to each other anymore. There's definitely going to be some disagreements with, this new relationship, whoever you're with, and the bio parent.
All kinds of things, right? House rules, money,
So many things.
Time.
Yeah.
Parenting styles, what's appropriate in terms of like viewing content for movies and video games.
Right.
All of these things, right? These are normal things to have potential disagreements about.
But when you disagree, and you could very strongly disagree, when is it ever the right thing to do to insult somebody or cut them down, call them names, sometimes even publicly to other people? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why is that ever? And I'm asking this question, why is that ever, if you're somebody who's done this yourself, or if you've have it done to you, why is that ever the right way to handle it?
I don't think it is. I think it makes that person look small. To me, when I see other people doing that, I'm like, you know what? You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to drag somebody down, to be negative. Like, take the higher road, right?
Just because you disagree, or just because you do things or parent differently.
Yeah. And sometimes you're just going to have to say, okay, it's not how I think it should be, but it's my opinion, and I am not in control of everything.
Yeah.
Back to that. I am only in control of myself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, was it you that brought it up, or I brought it up, and we were like, oh, this is one of our rants, is when people like flip back and forth.
Oh, like they've got that like high-low mentality, or like yeah, totally. And it's hard to gauge, right? Because it's like, you're like, wait a second, right now, it's like all positive, whatever. One thing doesn't go your way, you shift and you're the other side and you're nasty. And then all of a sudden you want to like shift back to being over here. No, you don't get to play those games. Not with me.
No, and I think that kind of goes back to that expectation. It's like, why does somebody think that it's okay to be super nice or even just civil, and then all of a sudden
it's like temper tantrums.
Super rude. It is kind of like temper tantrum,
yeah.
and then super rude.
But then temper tantrum isn't okay if you're 2 years old or if you're 50 years old.
No, and I think you have to remember, if that's happening, what kind of when you are doing that, it definitely, if that's being done to you, it definitely diminishes the level of respect, because it's like, okay, you're trying to be respectful one day, and then the next day you're being super disrespectful. So you can't expect that I'm going to be so respectful to you and responsive all the time.
Well, and the only thing you can control is yourself. So then what's the byproduct of it? Limited access, less attention, less, appreciation of your opinions or things, because you no longer are acting like a normal human.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the byproducts of bad behavior.
I mean, and again, it's the things that you would teach your kids. It's like, if your child's going to be super disrespectful and like, I'm stealing the car and I'm doing this and I'm doing all these bad things that you told me not to do, but then the next day be like, I love you and I'm sorry, but then the next week does the bad behavior again, and
yeah, it's just you're getting manipulated, and like, no, it doesn't work.
Right.
Don't like it.
Right. So you've got to, I think you definitely have to you have to have your boundaries of what you will allow and how you will allow yourself to be treated. And I think that, just like when it comes with parenting, I mean, bad behavior is going to have consequences, and it doesn't mean that the next day you can just be nice again. It's not cool. Anyways, that was one of our other rants and vents.
Here's a rant.
Yeah, do it.
Why are black cars so freaking hard to keep clean? Okay, let's be serious. And why do they keep making them?
They are really hard to keep clean. We don't have a black car.
Here's the problem. Black cars, when they're brand new or just waxed,
look amazing.
Give it 2 days, and all of a sudden it shows every piece of dirt and everything else. Why? Why can't they keep black cars clean?
That's a really good point.
Yep, that's one of those things. I think about it often. I'm like, why can't I own a black car?
Because you're like, I want to have that car, and it looks so
I
good,
do. I want
but
a black
I know
car,
it's hard to keep clean.
But I'm not the guy that wants to go to the car wash like every 3 days.
Okay.
What else you
Fair
got?
enough.
I got the black car one in there.
All right. Well,
how's that relevant?
No, that's pretty good. Here's a rant. How come right after I clean the kitchen, it's messy again?
It's well, I'm not even going to get into the kitchen cleaning thing. I will say our house is freaking magical. We have a magic closet. You deposit dirty clothes in there, and then when you come home from work, they're magically cleaned and rehung. It is amazing.
There must be a magical Puerto Rican Italian goddess who is just getting it all done when no one's watching. Wow. She must be amazing.
It's like the laundry fairy lives at our house.
It's pretty awesome.
I'm sure that's what a Summer's rant's like. Why can't you guys clean up after yourselves?
You know what? They've actually been doing pretty good, and that's because they're motivated by allowance.
Bribery.
Yeah.
Bribery.
Yeah. Okay. There was another thing too that I ranted about that I'm going to share.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So it's when people constantly share the same story. So because it's become part of their identity. So it's like every time you're talking to them, they are complaining about a certain person, right? And it becomes part of their identity, their story. Like my ex-wife is a nightmare, right? And every time you're with them, all they're doing is venting about their ex. Or it's a woman that's constantly talking about, he's such a horrible dad, or, but it's like to every person that they meet, it becomes, that's their identity. That's their story. That's what gives them importance. And it frustrates me because I'm like, there's so much more to you than that. You know what I mean? And sometimes there are important stories to share, but it's when you can see that they're excited to talk negatively about someone else, and they put it out everywhere they can. And it frustrates me because it's like, well, like you had said earlier, it doesn't look good on you. When you do that, it doesn't look good. And there's a difference between, which I've talked about on some other episodes, but there's a difference between having some close friends that you just need to vent about something that's going on. But when it's the consistent story that you share, and it's, I'm going to tell everybody I know, people that I don't even know, it becomes, it's annoying to me. And there's times even when I've had people that are talking about those things or reaching out about those things, and I'm like, oh, not again. Or
like, please.
There's so many more awesome things about you. Let's not focus on
let
that.
It define you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like this is the thing that you're like, I will be defined by this, and I will always talk about it.
Yeah.
It is my thing.
It's holding on to a grudge, and it's almost, it's being in a state of mind where you're constantly looking for something bad
like
to happen so that you have something to talk about. Yeah.
That is a good rant.
Yeah, I don't like it because I feel like we're all made for so many good things. We all have so much potential, but when we put all of the energy onto the one thing that frustrates us, or the one thing that angers us,
or that happened, or that's negative.
Yeah. And what you focus on grows, right?
Yeah,
so if you're going to focus on those negative things, that will grow. And really you have so much control in terms of shifting your perspective and focusing on the other good things. And those things will grow.
It's so true. The things that you focus on will be the things that come to fruition in your life.
Yes, absolutely. I've done that myself, where I've looked back and I'm like, gosh, in moments of like total pain, right? Going through divorce and things that are just like totally, your whole mind is wrapped up in it because you have this pain going on. But then, other things happen in your life, and you start to switch your perspective on how you look at that, and you start to become grateful for these hard experiences. But I've looked back and I've gone, wow, I remember a period of time when I spent so much energy upset about this or that, whatever that experience was. You spent so much energy, and it's like, and then you realize I have no time. Like that just took up so much time and energy, and it's so much better.
Full of negative.
Yes, and it's so much better
instead of filling yourself full of positive. And like I think we've said 1,000 times just on this episode, right? You can control yourself.
Yes.
You can control your thoughts. You can control your feelings. You can control your environment. You can control the people that you allow into your life.
Yeah.
You can control negative and positive, all of those things, and you can't make any excuses about it because you're in control of that.
Yes.
You can make excuses about a lot of things.
Yes.
but not that.
It's so true. But you know what? Sometimes you have to hear things over and over and over again until it finally resonates with you and you're like, wait, now I actually get that I'm in control of that. And we can all do that. We tell our kids that, it's like, okay, you could be super upset right now, that something didn't go the way you wanted it to. Logan had a day like that recently. It didn't go the way he wanted to at martial arts. Like he didn't get the award that he was supposed to get. And he was like bummed about it. And he was bummed about it for a little while, but then it was like this whole conversation of like, okay, well, what can you learn from this? What can you do better next time? And just shifting your perspective instead of harboring the negative feelings about it, which you're always going to feel negative about something. You have to kind of like purge yourself and let yourself feel that, but it's the holding on to it. And it's that's my final rant for today, was people that are awesome
negative
people,
instead
but
of positive
could really be so awesome, but really focus on that
then
negative.
My final rant is negative people. They drain you. They're not fun to be around. There's negative. I like positive people.
What you have to do though is in blended family situations, you could very much have a lot of negative energy that's around you. And you have to not take it personally, because negative people, I know we always say it, but it's true. Negative people will intentionally try to suck that life force from you. That's the goal. It's like,
what's that? Misery loves company.
Misery loves company. I'm feeling negative, so I want you to feel negative, because then it makes it does
justifies my
it lifts
negative
me
existence.
Up. Yeah. And they want you to feel bad, because then it makes them feel better, instead of doing something for themselves that makes them feel better, that actually has nothing to do with the other person. That's really how you overcome that and get yourself on a more positive vibration.
All right. On that note, we love to hear other people's rants. So if you want to share your rants with us, feel free. Actually, share them with Summer, because I actually don't really like hearing other people rant.
No, but that is that whole open letter thing too. It's like, instead of dumping on somebody else, but you've got to get your voice out there. And again, it might not be a negative thing. It might be like, I just want to do like a random open letter to let my husband know what a great job he's doing. But
that one you probably shouldn't do anonymously. Why not?
It doesn't need to be anonymously, but sometimes there's, maybe there's some type of recognition that you want to give to somebody, but it might be super awkward if you sent that letter out to them. That's right.
It doesn't have to be negative.
Hey, guy at the grocery store that I see working your butt off every day, and you don't know who I am, but I'm just going to write this letter because I've seen you. I know what you've gone through. You're a great dad. You're this, whatever. It could be something like that.
Sure.
There's all different ways. It's really
it's an open forum for you to express yourself in a way that like someone is going to see, but they aren't going to know where it came from.
It's also just the exercise of
getting it out there,
getting it off your chest. Okay. With that, thanks for listening to our rants today.
Yeah, right. Sorry, everybody, for putting you in the rant listening position.
I mean, again, you can stop listening at any time.
That's right.
No one's forcing you to do anything. You are in control. But thanks if you did listen all this way.
All right.
We're so grateful to you guys.
Next time.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening. And we like to say, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone you love, and be bold enough to share it with someone you don't. See you next time.